Hello. This will be a conversation, not a lecture, not motivational hype, just you and me. And a topic nobody really likes to unpack fully. The topic is purpose, but not the usual kind. Not set smart goals, not make a vision board, not be a productivity robot. Something deeper. What happens when you don't have purpose? What happens when you simply drift? When you're sort of alive, but you don't know why? I want to talk about that. No pressure, no canned phrases. As someone who's been there more than once, when you lose focus and begin to lose yourself. Listen, purpose is not success. Purpose is not, I want to earn $500,000 or go to Bali. It's not a number in a notebook, and it's definitely not a KPI. Purpose is a way to keep from falling apart. It's an assembly point. When you have purpose, you have context. You can say no to what isn't yours. You don't try everything. You don't jump into every opportunity. You don't live by, what if I get lucky? You begin to live with intention, not just work. Live. Do you know how that feels? You wake up and you don't have to convince yourself. You just remember, oh, right, I'm heading that way. And that's enough. The problem is that from childhood, purpose is tied to struggle. Be good, achieve, set it, and chase it through tears. So many, especially the burned out, say, I don't want goals. I just want to live. And it sounds beautiful. But more often than not, it's a mask of loss. The mask of a tired person who simply doesn't know where to go, and therefore claims there's nowhere to go. And that's when the real decay begins. Not external at first. Internal? When you no longer have support. You don't know who you are because you're going nowhere. You can't tell one day from the next. You just exist. When you have no purpose, the world doesn't grow quieter. It grows louder. Your mind feels unfiltered. You catch every noise, every comparison. Every success of someone else feels like a sting in your skin. Because you have no center. You become soft, blurred. Not because you're relaxed, but because you've lost your vector. Inside, emptiness that you fill with anything, content, conversations, new hobbies. You cling to whatever, just to avoid sitting alone with the question, where am I even going? And here's what's interesting. You can be extremely busy. You might have 1,000,000 tasks. You could be doing something all the time. Yet inside, you feel like you're not moving anywhere. Like you're just chasing your own tail. You just exist. I know this state. It's like everything is gray. No pixels. No brightness. You go through the motions, but it feels meaningless. At some point, you even stop asking questions. You just don't care. It feels normal. And that's the most dangerous place. Because normal is when you've given up, but haven't admitted it yet. Sometimes you think, I just lost motivation. Number, you lost your reason. And without a reason, you can't sustain the effort. You can't pull yourself together. You can't even get up in the morning like a person. Purpose is not a push. Purpose is gravity. It's what pulls you. You get up, and something inside says, let's go. This matters. It's yours. When that pull is gone, you begin to decay. Not physically, not yet, but mentally, emotionally, structurally, you fall apart into fragments. You don't know what to choose. You lose boundaries. You become vulnerable to anything that screams louder than your inner silence. Sometimes it masquerades as spirituality. I'm in the flow, but honestly, you're just afraid to take the helm. And if the helm isn't in your hands, someone else will take it for you. You're signed up for 10 more challenges, listening to mentors' voice notes, waiting for someone to say, here it is, your purpose. But no one will tell you, because purpose is something you formulate from within. Okay, suppose you've realized, without purpose, you fall apart. You want a purpose. You're ready to seek it. But here comes the second trap. You unconsciously grab the first loud goal you see. Usually it's imposed, from social media, from your parents' voices, from the noise. You set a goal because, well, that's what people do. You have to strive for something. You don't feel this goal, but it sounds normal. I want to make $1 million. I want a personal brand. I want a career. I want stability. You write it in Notion, stick it on the wall, but inside, you're empty. You're not connected to this goal. It's not yours. You're playing someone else's game without even knowing who wrote the rules. The goal seems to exist, but instead of strength, it brings anxiety. Here's the main sign of a junk goal. It forces you to push yourself. Your energy goes not toward the goal, but into fighting yourself. Come on, pull yourself together. Why am I not doing anything? I failed again. You think you're lazy, you think you lack discipline, but the real problem might be different. This goal isn't yours. True purpose isn't motivation, it's magnetism. You don't push yourself, you're pulled toward it. Here's a simple test. 1. When you think of this goal, do you breathe easier or harder? 2. Do you want to walk toward it or just check it off? 3. Imagine no one will know. Do you still want it? If your answers are no or I'm unsure, maybe it's not your purpose. Want an honest example? I set goals many times to be like others. Write every day, hit a new income level, run 3 projects at once. Each time, I felt resistance inside. I thought, I just need to overcome myself. Number. You don't overcome yourself. You need to listen to yourself. And here's where it gets interesting. When you pause for a second and ask, what is truly mine? What inside me wants to come out? What have I felt for a long time but been afraid to admit? Sometimes your real purpose speaks softly, unassuming, no spotlight. I just want to live in silence. I want to speak honestly. I want to help, not for likes, but because I can't help it. That is living. That is your trajectory. Not for everyone, but for you. And it can still lead to money, to success, but without splitting yourself, without betraying yourself. Look, you can't invent purpose. You can only remember it or recognize it. It's like walking down a noisy street and suddenly hearing someone whisper your name. Your purpose doesn't shout. It's almost always quiet, because it comes not from anxiety, but from depth. And often, the path to your purpose begins not with inspiration, but with pain. 1. Purpose through pain. Sit down and ask yourself honestly, what inside me can no longer be silent? What pain have I learned to mute? What can I no longer endure in my life or in the world? Sometimes purpose begins with that. Not with a dream, but with an inner, I can't take it anymore. Someone leaves a toxic environment and starts building their own. Someone can no longer play the nice role and launches a project on integrity. Someone burns out completely, and at the bottom, a new truth is born. Your pain is not weakness. It's a signal. You suffer not because you're broken, but because your reality doesn't match your inner course. Purpose is not an answer. Purpose is a meeting. Second purpose through aliveness. Okay, suppose you've made it through the pain. Look further. Ask yourself, when do I truly feel alive? What brings back my spark? When am I not required to be perfect, but authentic? It might be simple. A deep conversation. Creating, not just repeating. Feeling real connection, not just a like. That is direction. Not yet purpose, but a vector, a point of attraction. The problem is, many seek purpose as a result. Here's my mission. But real purpose is a process. It unfolds as you move. You walk, and by your reaction, by your body, by that inner yes, you realize, this is mine. Here, I am real. Third purpose through the path. It's like a route, not a single point. You don't have to know the finale. You don't have to see the whole road. One honest step is enough to speak, to write, to leave, to begin, to refuse, to disconnect, to step out, to say, I don't know, but I'm seeking. That is where living purpose begins, and it may not look grand. It might not be a startup, a book, or a movement. It could simply be a way to be yourself and to last south. Suppose you've heard your why. You started moving. You felt, yes, this is it. And then life happens. News, fatigue, distraction. You get sidetracked, lose your pace, begin to doubt. What do? First, don't dramatize. Losing focus is normal. It's not failure. It's simply how the mind works. It drifts, it wanders, it gets noisy. What matters is not that you stray, but that you come back. Purpose is not a rigid contract. It's a relationship. Like any real connection, you're not required to be perfect, but you are required to be involved. Second, make purpose tangible. You can't keep it in your head. It must live in your body, in context, in action. Here are 3 simple rituals. 1. Morning vector. Every morning, 1 minute. Ask yourself, what can I do today to be closer to myself? Not to the outcome, to myself. 2. Clear the input. Remove what pulls you off track. People, channels, ideas. You don't need to be available to everything. Your energy is a resource. Focus is a muscle. It needs protection. 3. A week without purpose. Yes, once a month, live a week without external goals. Just observe. What am I drawn to? What arises in me without pressure? If you want to return to your purpose, it's real. If not, it needs another listen. Purpose is a form of love. You're not required to be superhuman. You're not required to always know the way. You have the right to stray. You have the right not to know. But you are required to be honest with yourself. Purpose is not projects. Purpose is acknowledging the value of your life. It's a way to say, I am here. I choose. I won't hand my life to algorithms or someone else's roadmap. Final pause. Stop. Right now. For a moment. No screen. No next video. Just ask yourself, am I going somewhere or just drifting? If you're going, cherish that path. If you're drifting, it's time to stand up.